Hey everybody, this is the 200th RPG overview video. Um, this has been a really challenging video to make about AD&D 2nd Edition. This is the game that I started with. There's been so much I've been trying to say and making videos for this that I've failed over and over again and stopped and restarted. I don't really know which way to go with it. There's so much to say about it and so many different paths I could take. And I'm really struggling on how to make this video, to be honest with you. It's like just a glowing list of things that I really enjoy about 2nd edition. And I've got to start off with the basics that obviously put it out there. This was the edition that really started me with D&D. I love all the art, the major artists that are known for 2nd edition D&D. Jeff Easley is my favorite artist of all time when it comes to fantasy art. It's just an absolute juggernaut edition. It's weird. You've got a lot of people that really enjoy 1st edition. I understand why. And then 3rd edition really turned kind of the game on its head a little bit. But 2nd edition, to me, was just such a refinement. And it had such great ideas that I thought worked really well. And I was kind of surprised that they didn't move on past that. I love this book. This is one of the best role-playing books of all time. I think this is the best logo that D&D's ever had. This is not the best DM's guide, but I think it gets a bum rap. I think it's much better than a lot of people say, mainly because the 1st edition is the best. But it's still very, very good. But I will say I think this is the best monster manual of all time. The layout of it, the art, even some of the weirder, wackier pieces. I just really, really love this book. It is the best. All the information it gives you, the way it's laid out, it is just a masterpiece. And of course, great Jeff Easley art on the cover. Now, these other books I spotlight here, Complete Ranger's Handbook is one that I started off with, and I like Rangers, so I got that. And I love looking at weapons and gear and stuff, so I had the Arms and Equipment Guide. These are my original books right here. I did a lot with just this right here. And they made, of course, tons of products. And that's fine. You'll never see another edition of D&D supported the way that 2nd edition was, by any scope. Their settings right here are incredible. The amount of support they gave their settings was fantastic. It was just an absolute different time with a lot of things coming together to make just an awesome edition of D&D. Not only just the game, but just kind of like the whole universe of it. With novels, computer games, even trading cards. AD&D 2nd edition, that the whole time it was released, it was just, it was incredible. And it's something that they'll never do again. No one will ever do what they did when they did with AD&D 2nd edition. And I want to just kind of like, I was like, how am I going to do this video? I mean, yes, this is Larry Elmore. It's a fantastic piece of art. I absolutely dig it. I like the blue and the white. I love this font. It's like this whole video is just going to be going, I like. But that's just all there is to it. And it doesn't, a lot of it is nostalgia. Don't get me wrong. Like, we are kind of, looking back at the times that my life when I was playing this and what was going on was so much easier and simpler. And there was a lot of change when it came to me, like certain types of music. The guys that showed me this game I thought were just the coolest guys in the world. And I'm so thankful for them for introducing me to this game. They really put me on the path that I'm still on to this day. But it's not just them. I mean, it's the movies that I watched. It was the books that I read. I love the TSR novels. It's a shame that we don't have that anymore, really, in the hobby, with making fantastic novels that go along and enhance and enrich the settings and the games that we have. I think it's an easy game to run. I think it looks intimidating to some people, but it's really not. A lot of this art has turned from being bad to charming to me over the decades. I love these spot pieces, which before I thought they were kind of just whatever. But it's just all part of the charm of this book right here. These books. Now, the black covers, the 2.5 or whatever people want to call them, I don't enjoy those as much. They're not the ones that I started off with. I don't like the font. I don't like the art as much. But again, what you start with this hobby, it holds a good bit of your enjoyment for it. And so I tell people a lot nowadays, go back and play that game. that got you into this hobby, especially if you feel kind of out of love with it, or whatever the case may be, frustrated. You're trying to find that perfect game, and I think that's a lot of people kind of do that. I don't care that they didn't do devils or demons names or whatever in this second edition. And a lot of people like hold that against it. I didn't really, I didn't have that knowledge of that at the time. So it didn't matter to me, and it still doesn't really matter to me. It's a fantastic edition. That's just all there is to it. And for many, many people, I think that's one of the things I really enjoy seeing is even to this day, there are lots and lots of fans of D&D that still say that second edition is their favorite. And maybe that is nostalgia. Maybe it is because they really like the edition, just all the settings, all the books that they made, the rules, whatever the case may be. But I love seeing that. And I'm like, yes, it is the best. And I'm going to show you a couple things that I either ran into with the game that I really kind of either had an issue with, or I really liked, or it was something I had an issue with that it turned out it's not too bad after all. I had somewhat of a narrow view of certain things back in the past, and I would foo-foo this book at times when I saw something I thought that did it better. But ultimately, I kept on coming back to this over the years. So one of that is proficiency slots. I love the idea of proficiency slots. I like the fact that you have to kind of be trained with certain weapons. I think about Conan and Conan the Barbarian and how he was learning different weapons, and how a wizard wouldn't be as proficient with certain weapons as a warrior would. And then you've got non-weapon proficiencies, which that's probably going to be one of the biggest things that I had that I was, sometimes I'd scratch my head at and be like, these don't really make sense, these things, these slots and stuff. I'll go over that in a second. Let's go back to these here. So what a funny piece of art. I used to look at this big-headed mug right here and laugh at it. But again, it's just turned into kind of a charming thing. It's warm, it's cozy, it's just what I'm used to now. It's almost like art that's battered you into loving it. It's kind of weird in that sense. I liked weapon specialization. You could literally specialize in just throwing daggers. And you could throw 3. You could throw 3 every round, or 4 darts every round. I love that, like, bows and stuff like that, you actually got to shoot 2 a round. That's just neat. Like, that's the base. And it's weird. It's another thing that really didn't pick up for other editions, or, it didn't continue on. But weapon specialization, fantastic. Really gave, fighters and stuff like that a great boost, to have that +1 to hit, +2 damage. Man, that's just a juggernaut, awesome addition to this game. And then we've got proficiencies, and I used to look at this and I would be like, who wants to make friggin' like pots? Like, why would I pick pots? But I think it's neat, the fact that it's there to give your character some character. I know that's kind of a funny little saying there, but it takes the amount of slots and how much work you're going to put into learning it, what ability it's based off of, and then how it changes the modifier. And it's very easy. Now, the only thing that I always had an issue with it was that it takes quite a while to level up, in essence, if you want to get more of these slots. And oddly enough, when it comes to thieves, or the rogue group, they got less of them. So you can see here, numbers per level, every level, so they got 1. And that was because they had all their thief skills. So it was kind of backwards in the way that it is now. Like, now they're all about skills, and they didn't have as much because they were so focused on their thief skills. It's interesting how that kind of switched with other editions. But yeah, I really like proficiencies now. We used to always get blind fighting or rope use a lot, but I really dig them. I think they're cool. I do think it's kind of slow sometimes to what level you get to in order to get more of them. And I'm not a big fan of changing rules. I'm not a house rule type guy. So it's nothing that really, like, I want to change. I want to kind of play it the way it was designed. And that's a lot when it comes to second edition. There's a lot of optional rules in here, which used to frustrate me. I was like, why didn't you just make this a rule? Why did you give me optional rules? And I didn't really realize that a lot of people had already changed rules from first edition when they were playing that, and they kind of embraced that with second edition. So, yeah, weapon proficiencies are cool and non-weapon proficiencies are neat. I dig them big time. They're very easy to understand and add to the game. Great art here. Doug Chaffee did a lot of art. Really wish I could have met him. He lived not too far from me, just in Asheville, but if I'm not mistaken, up in North Carolina before he passed away. Again, I really just dig this. And this was the edition that was kind of like historical. It definitely had a historical base in a lot of what it was doing, especially like with the green books. They're trying to do like the Vikings and the and things like that. And I really dug that. It grounded in that fantasy, that Western European fantasy, like historical fantasy that I wanted. So now let's talk about this. And it's right here, speed factor. Speed factor, in my opinion, is absolutely genius. A lot of people didn't like it. A lot of people didn't use it. It's so simple. And that was the thing I think that just I didn't understand, is that there was a lot of simple stuff in some of these older games that people thought were so difficult, and I don't understand why. I think a lot of that has to do with people saying that now with easier systems and using that knowledge to go back and then critique this system. But back then, this was very easy. I love speed factor and casting time, which is pretty much the same thing when it comes to spells. But the fact that you've got let's say, we're just going to take it, the easiest one, a longsword's got a speed factor of 5. You roll a d10, you add 5 to it. It's simple addition. And whoever has the lower initiative goes first. And it made weapons that were slow, you didn't get to go off. They didn't get to swing so quick or attack so quick. If you got a two-handed sword, you're adding 10 to your d10. That makes sense. A lot of this game made sense to me. And so that's why I really dug it. And that's why we'll get into here in a second. I always like this piece of art. It was always weird, just different styles. The styles changed fairly drastically. Let's talk about armor class. So yeah, the thing about armor class that's wild for me is I used to have difficulty with THACO. I understand that people have problems with it, and I finally just kind of pushed through it and said, you know what, I'm going to conquer this. And it was always a thing that like I just kind of left up to the DM if I wasn't running the game, and let them kind of figure it out. I do want to say just real quick here, I do like some of this wild art here. It's like I said, it's goofy actually. But it's just start to be that homey type of feel, that charming kind of feel. And that's Doug Chaffee right there. I'll tell you something. If you want to really read something interesting, I'm going to be jumping around a lot. Just in my thoughts, this is just like verbal diarrhea. This section on illusions right here is absolutely incredible. If you really want to see how thorough some stuff was done in 2nd edition, read this about illusions. It is amazing. Highly recommend you do that. And if you haven't looked at this book in a long time, you've got it, go take a look at this. If that was a thing you just kind of like, waved over and said, okay, that's all about illusions, read it. It's very, very smart. So we're going to go into the attacks and then talk about THACO like I got off of. So one thing I thought was very wild about THACO was, and it's even to this day when people try to calculate it, if I give you 2 numbers, there's a number in there that's very easy to solve for. If I give you a 13 and a 7, what is the number that you're missing? Well, you're missing 6, right? That's 13. 7 plus 6 is 13. You need a 6 or higher to hit. How hard is that? There's always usually 2 numbers, a THACO and an armor class. If you have a THACO of 20, right here, right? And the armor class is 10, you need a 10. If it's an 11, what's the number that's missing? We've got a 20 and 11. What's missing there? It's a 9. How hard is that? It's not hard at all. If it's a negative armor class, just add that to the number you need. If you've got a THACO of 18 and they have a -1 armor class, it's +1. You need a 19 to hit. How hard is that? But it's a holdup for a lot of people. Now, I will say some of these optional rules can make the game very slow. It can slow it down. I've used some of them because I think they're neat when it comes to like weapon types versus armor modifiers, slashing weapons versus certain types of armors. I think it's kind of neat. But initiative is easy. THACO is easy. Just sit down and try to say, you know what? I'm not going to let this beat me. I'm going to try to beat this. I'm going to try to understand it completely. Same thing with casting time with spells. It was exactly the same as swinging a weapon. Casting time is added onto your initiative. That's when the spell goes off. That's very simple. The rules for group initiative and these optional rules for individual initiative were fantastic. I love the fact that magical weapons got faster magical weapon speeds if you use this optional rule. So you've got a sword that's magical. It made it so much, meant more when you got just a +1 sword, +1 dagger. You were hitting better with it, you were doing more damage, and it was faster. So it was a third way to make that weapon special. And I think that's fantastic. Reducing the speed factor down by 1, by whatever its pluses was. That's great. And it's a shame that that's something that just wasn't continued on with. I always thought the punching and wrestling thing was funny. Everything else here is just fine. I like saving throws. I don't have a problem with it not being just always rolling in the same direction. People say, oh, well now you're looking for low on the initiative die and you're trying to roll high. You're trying to beat this, but you're trying to roll under if you're making an ability check, or you're making a non-weapon proficiency, you're trying to roll over that. It's not that hard, but I understand the need for making stuff more streamlined in one direction. And then, healing was slow. We always kind of did the -10 after you hit 0 hit points. And I like being a stickler with this game and playing it the way it's supposed to be played. I really dug that. I always liked the piece of art there as well. Funny piece of art there. For some reason I always looked at this lady and thought she looked like Princess Leia a little bit in the face. But I just felt like this edition was just so much more grounded in not really reality, but just a more historic version of it. Great sections in here about time and movement and light. Really dug that. And then we get into our spells. And I love the fact that they are by level, alphabetically. Some games don't do that anymore, and this is just so much easier, especially as a player, to get to where it is. But casting time 1, you add 1 to your initiative D10 roll. It's not that hard. So strange to hear people talk crap about stuff that I'm like, I don't get it, man. It was never a problem with me. I love these spells. They're fantastic. I like how they tell you what type of components you need to have. If it's something specific, like the material component, what it needs to be. It's just really, really great section of the book. And of course it's a major section of the book, obviously. And we're going to it's pretty much all the rest of the back end. And then look, they gave us great bunch of tables here. Dexterity was always a great stat to have. I really like percentile based strength scores. I felt like a lot of the abilities here, they're important. I like intelligence. I like using the number of languages as maybe more proficiency slots if you wished. Some very neat stuff in it. And here's another thing too I'm going to talk about. A lot of people talk trash about older editions. I don't like the fact that being a dwarf or an elf or something like that is just so commonplace now. Since this was more based, I believe, in kind of like a historical aspect of, Western Europe, humans was always kind of like the baseline, and anything else was exceptional. It was rarer, and I hate that we've kind of taken that away. I don't have a problem at all with, an elf only being able to go up to a certain class, like a certain level of a certain class. I don't have a problem with that at all. They explain it quite well in the Dungeon Master's Guide. Read the book and understand how they play it. But some people are so sticklers for this stuff, and I understand it's your game. Do what you want with it. But it's almost just like arguing for the sake of arguing about these things. And, if your game, you want it to have it where everything's so commonplace, that's fine. But a lot of the settings didn't have that. Clyde Caldwell was always one of my favorites as well. This book here gets a bit of a bum rap, mainly because the one that came before was so amazing. I still think there is a lot of really great stuff in this DM's guide. And as I go through it more and more, because I'll be honest with you, obviously it was not a book I read a whole bunch of as much as I read the Player's Handbook. That's just how it's going to go. But now that I read through it, it's way better than a lot of people say. I do think these individual class awards, I've tried using those. I think they're slightly broken. They're fixed a little bit in the black version, the black cover version, the 2.5 or whatever you want to call it, of the DM's Guide. So I would definitely point you towards that. This is a great piece of Jeff Veasley right here. I used to always enjoy that one. If you want to pick up D&D 2nd edition, you can get print-on-demand versions of it. It's going to be the anniversary edition, which is the black. It's going to be the black insides of the DM's Guide and the Player's Handbook and the Monster Manual, which is, the Monster Manual is not as bad as these other two. But it's not going to look like this. And I wish that Wizard of the Coast would allow us to get this version of the book, because this is the one that a lot of us started off with. And I hate that people can't experience the game with this version of it, which I think is superior, even though it might have a couple errors here and there in it. But I will have a link down in the description if you want to pick it up. They're not even in hardback either. They don't put out hardback, and they're softback. And it's just a shame we haven't gotten exactly what we would like to have out of that print-on-demand service. But hey, at least it's there to some degree. But very easy. Optional modifiers initiative, fantastic. There is so much to say about this edition. I've been stunned at what I would like to say about it. I would like to do more videos on it. If people want me to do videos on stuff, I've got so much content I could do with that. But between just the normal core books, a little bit of something there. That's another thing too. They're getting more and more, getting some use to them and getting some wear and tear. But I have most of all this stuff here that you see. I like a lot of the stuff they did. The challenge one-on-one adventures that you could get. I love all the Dungeon Master Guide supplements. They're fantastic. The historical reference series was something I never really got into. I've got tons of Forgotten Lands stuff. So Forgotten Realms stuff. So that's something we could take a look at. And I love a lot of the handbooks too. Some of them, they were broken, but they explain how you've got to kind of fix those broken parts of them. Just tons of products for 2nd edition. It's a great edition of the game. I think it is pinnacle of TSR, of Dungeons and Dragons. I think it's the best. I never liked once this game got away from, once it started chasing modifier scores, everything was a +1, a +2, a +3. The universal modifier score, I believe, is the downfall of D&D. It made people start chasing numbers instead of chasing adventure. And I think that's its biggest downfall. So a lot of this stuff I know, here's the racial class and level limits. Oh my God, how terrible. My overpowered elf can't become a 20th level cleric. Oh, it's terrible. But again, they explain that in here, the racial level restrictions, and try to make you understand why that is the way it is. A lot of thought went into this edition of D&D, and I just really, really dig it. I even like how it's got 0 level characters here. Just a fantastic, great edition with incredible art, just absolutely inspiring, just mind-churning imagination art, and a fantastic monster manual. My goodness, this thing is so great. And I can look at this and I know it so well, how to read the entries. THACO is so good. People, like I said, it's a weird thing. Everything always gets splits into camp. There's got people that love THACO, people that love to hate THACO. And I just really dig it. This always looked like a goofball to me. But I don't know. I could keep going. I don't know when to stop this video. That's a lot of problems. A lot of times when I make these, I just don't know when to stop. I want to talk so much about it. But a dynamite edition. I am so glad that I still see people to this day in comment sections say that this is the best edition of D&D. I can't help but nod and say they got it right. Give them a thumbs up or a like. There's so much to enjoy about this edition. All the products. And I'll say, again, I might have said that in the beginning of this video. I forget. Sometimes these videos go so long, I forget what I said in the beginning. But the amount of work that they put into their settings and their books and the amount of content they made is just unparalleled. It's incredible. When you see someone that has a large collection and just think about the amount of work and words and just talent that they had and they used, and the amount of products they spit out. Yes, I understand some of them weren't great, but boy, they were dedicated to just keep on putting out incredible products and cool imagination throughout them all. It's a fantastic edition. So there it is. I know this has just been kind of like a ramble, but I had to do it. This is the 200th RPG overview video. And I hope if you've watched them all, thank you so much. 200's a lot. It's crazy to think of. And I didn't know exactly what to do for the 200. I said, you know what? Maybe I'll just keep on doing and not acknowledge it at all. But and I was like, you know what? This would be a good time just to do a video on AD&D Second Edition. It's not exactly what I had hoped to make. I wanted to really just break down everything about this game, and I may still do videos on it. If you want videos on AD&D Second Edition, please let me know. It's a floodgates. Once I start, there'll be a ton of them because I have a ton of material to make videos for them, and certain people might not be as interested in it, but yeah, let me know what you think about second edition D&D. It's, when you talk about an edition of D&D, you're definitely going to rouse some, get some people, rub them the wrong way with what you say. I just don't really care, to be honest with you. I think this edition's fantastic. A lot of that is nostalgia, like I said in the beginning, but it's got a lot of great stuff going for it. It's a game that you felt powerful just getting the simplest of magical weapon or armor, and I think that's in the spirit of the game. Just to make it something unique, and something you can be like, yes, I've done it. I got a +1 sword, +1 dagger. This is going to help us out so much. It was the little things and the improvements in this game to your character that I really, really dug. So there it is. Yeah. I've shortchanged the game. I've shortchanged this video. I haven't done y'all justice. I haven't done the game justice. And if you've watched all this far, kudos to you. I hope you've enjoyed it. You may be a big fan of second edition. That's why you probably stuck around. But I thought that, boom, what I do is just do this video right here at 200, and then we'll continue on looking at other, new stuff, Mutant Crawl Classics. Got more videos of that and other stuff coming your way. But I just had to get this on the record, and what better way to do it than the 200th RPG overview video. So thank you so much for those that have stayed with me all these years, and I hope to continue to do this for quite a while. I'm really planning on this to be a big year for the channel. I've got a lot more stuff planned. Some stuff I haven't been able to do yet, and that's just procrastination and other things in life getting in the way. But yeah, AD&D Second Edition, just an absolute juggernaut, and the best. So there it is. Thanks, everybody.